Good evening. In the news today, the House of Representatives easily passed the historic tax reform bill. President Reagan said he will veto the congressional call for sanctions against South Africa. The administration is considering new drug raids in other countries. We'll have the details of these and other stories in our news summary coming up. Judy Woodruff is in Washington tonight. Judy?
The tax reform plan that passed one half of the Congress today is our lead focus tonight. Two leading businessmen debate whether it's good or bad for the economy. And an analyst from Wall Street will weigh in with that perspective as well. Next, a documentary report on one of South America's most volatile nations, Chile, zeroing in on the critical role of the middle class. Finally, essayist A.C. Green tells about a piece of Americana that's come rolling back from oblivion.
For the second time in 3 days, Israeli planes raided a Palestinian guerrilla base in Lebanon. Today's target was an olive grove on the outskirts of the port city of Sidon. The commander of the base told the Associated Press that one man was killed and 2 wounded. The Israeli military command said the base was used by the Fatah guerrilla faction led by PLO chairman Yasser Arafat.
In London, the ministers of 12 common market countries met today in an emergency session called by France, where a wave of terror bombings has claimed 9 lives in the past 2 weeks. The ministers agreed to set up an international hotline that would link police of the Western European nations. They also agreed that there would be no negotiations with terrorists. Later, at a news conference, the British Minister of the Interior responded to U.S. criticism that Europe has been lax with terrorists.
We are not in the business of grabbing headlines. We are in the business of improving the strength and quality of European work. It is already far more substantial than I think most American observers give us credit for. We now wish to improve its substance because we are not complacent about it. And events in many of our countries show that we cannot be complacent.
In Paris, France's Minister of the Interior said today he was certain the wave of recent bombings there was the work of George Abdallah's family. And he echoed Prime Minister Jacques Chirac's statement that France would not negotiate with the terrorists who are seeking the release of Abdallah. Abdallah is a Lebanese jailed in France on weapons charges. And in West Germany, a senior government official said between 60 and 80 members of the Abu Nidal Organization are in Europe planning terrorist attacks. Karl-Dieter Spranger, the state secretary in the Interior Ministry, said the information came in talks with U.S. officials in Washington.